Motorsport now, and the gift that really just keeps on giving. The great race, the Bathurst 1000, was run on Sunday. I'm still fizzing. Kiwi Scott McLaughlin in his Ford Mustang, edging out Shane van Gisbergen, claiming his first win at Mount Panorama. But as the 26-year-old was enjoying the spoils of victory, attention turned to his DJR Team Penske stablemate, Fabian Coulthard.
Yeah, his go-slow approach late in the race under safety car has been called into question. Was Coulthard following team orders? Was there an overheating issue, or was he simply doing what he had to do to give Scott McLaughlin a leg up? With more on this now, we bring back Sammy Harris and we welcome in a motorsport legend as well. Sam.
Oh, he is indeed. He hates talking about himself, so let me do it. Four-time Bathurst winner Greg Murphy, and the last guy prior to Scotty McLaughlin to win Bathurst, other than Stephen Richards with Craig Lowndes, am I right, as the co-driver?
Yeah, effectively, yeah, Sammy. Yeah, we've got to remember, Steve Richards still got a New Zealand passport, so we should be claiming him.
Oh, absolutely, mate. So, but just quickly, before we move on to something really important, how did you find the whole weekend?
It was full on. It always is. The weekend is enormous. The amount of preparation that goes into the lead into the event, and you know, just the vibe and way it starts to build. The atmosphere is absolutely incredible. You know what it's like, and you do get amongst it. But it's a full-on week, really busy to build into what is, you know, such a long day on Sunday and that 1,000 k's. You know, it's a crazy old week, mate.
Is it what? Now, okay, so there's been a situation which has kind of, in some ways, marred Scott McLaughlin's win. I mean, I want to show this vision here. Alexander Rossi hits we've got that vision here. Here it goes. Alexander Rossi hits the fence on lap 135. Now, this brings out the safety car. Jamie Whincup's in front at the time. Scotty McLaughlin just behind him. Fabs is behind them with Andre Heimgartner in fourth. Now, what the allegation is that Fabian Coulthard has slowed down that chasing pack on the safety car there. What did you make of the situation at the time?
Oh, I pretty made of the situation what the situation clearly was, and there's a bit of gamesmanship going on here. Okay. So you could see before that Fabian was only a second or so behind Scott. And
at this point, it's like 13 seconds.
Yeah, and it's growing at a great rate. Yep. So, you know, this is really difficult situation, and clearly there's some radio conversation that would make it sound like, you know, Fabian, take it easy, be very careful. He did have an issue. He had a genuine overheating issue in that car. Well,
let me ask you, where was that conversation?
Well, that was being put into the code that was being talked between the teams.
So not over the comms?
He knew that he had a problem, and I was warned about that a lot earlier on as well. And I've got the evidence based on what I saw on the screen that there was a problem there, but not to the point of what was going on. So they've used every tool that they had to maximise. You know, if it changed the outcome of who would have won the race or not, I think that's going to be in conjecture for quite a long time, and that would take a lot of analysing through all the data that's available that the teams have got through supercars and everything to completely determine that. I don't think it takes away from Scott's win, to be honest.
Not at all. Now, not only are you in the pits hearing all that additional information, you'll listen to the commentary at the same time. Yep. Now, they were saying that it was initially they thought it was due to double stacking, or the risk of that why Fabs was holding back. So are you telling me when you first heard that, you're like, nonsense? That
definitely it was because of a double stacking situation. Okay, yeah, for sure. You know, they don't want to have that car sitting there with everybody else going out through it. But you know, as I say, he was not going to be the car that was going to win that race on Sunday. So they've played every card that they possibly could to maximise their opportunities.
If we ever look here, Andre Heimgartner moves out to the left-hand side.
He's trying to go, come on, mate.
Is that what he's doing?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm surprised if he didn't, and we didn't see it. But if I was Andre, I would have been on the back of that car, pushing that car. Okay. Absolutely. And I'm surprised that not.
You would have done more than that, Murph.
Would I?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe so.
I think I've changed, Sammy.
No, you have indeed, mate. Look, what guys have you spoken to? Did you speak to Fabs? Did you speak to Andre? I mean, what were their reactions? Well, let's start with like the likes of Andre, the guys behind Fabs. What were their thoughts?
Yeah, listen, everyone was very frustrated. In that situation, I've been in that situation. I've been in a situation where I've actually realised the double stacking scenario, and you back off when you know you're going to be sitting in the pit lane for a long time. You've got a bunch of cars behind you. You maximise what you can. I would say this was overdone, right? It was overdone. If the gap had been half what that was, I think things wouldn't be being talked about the way they were. Everyone was very frustrated because you know where you are in the scheme of things. You know how much fuel you've got on board. You know what your strategy is, and you are ticking away in your brain, working out what is happening while you're sitting there driving at that speed. You know what's happening. All these drivers are smart cookies. They know what's going on. So the frustration of it all is enormous. And I've spoken to Fabian about it, and he knows that he played a game. He played a team game. The sad part about this is the reaction that he's getting personally and the attacks he's getting personally, and that's really unacceptable.
Now, I'll show you a wee bit of that in a sec, but first I want to go to what actually happened after the race. So Ryan Story and Fabian Coulthard met up with the race stewards afterwards. Now, it's a big read, quite confusing, but basically in bold here, they were concerned, this is race stewards, that the incident may have been the result of racing team Penske having issued an instruction to the driver of car 12, that's Fabian, to slow and create an unwarranted large gap between cars 17, Scotty McLaughlin, and cars 12, Coulthard, for tactical reasons. This is the rule.
Yep, that's the rule.
You know the whole rule book here. You know,
well, I don't know the whole rule book.
D24.1 quite well, don't you?
No, I don't. I don't. I didn't know it. I knew there's team order in there, but I wouldn't have been able to explain it to you in the way it's done. So basically, there it is at the bottom, which may interfere with a race result. So that's what they are looking at, and there's obviously teams that have come out and gone, we want this to be investigated, we want this to be looked at. You know, as I say, how everyone was affected is very different depending on where you were, the fuel you had on board, all those situations.
Okay, so it may not have affected Jamie Whincup and Scotty McLaughlin's race, but they've certainly interfered with the race result, or potentially here, haven't they? So
well, that's the alleged, and you know, you have to make your mind up for yourself there. But it does look like that there would have been a different situation if they had come in right behind those guys.
Okay, now I think it's going to be revisited at the Gold Coast 600.
It is going to be.
What do you see in your experience here, everything you've gone through? What do you kind of expect to happen here as a result of this?
Yeah, I think depending on what the stewards determine they have done based on the evidence they have, and then obviously the team will be able to show their evidence and come up with an explanation and argue what the what they've been accused of and what the alleged incident is, and then they will make a determining factor based on that evidence. Now, listen, it could go either way. Yep. And I think based on this, the possible penalties are team points can be taken off the team, and also fines. And who knows what that could possibly be. But there'll already be a set of penalties that'll be aligned with this rule if you're deemed to have breached it. Sure.
Now, never in Supercars history has something like this affected the winning driver, and when it's happened behind him. So you say nothing's going to happen to Scotty here. At no point is going to be taken off.
There's no way that can happen.
Okay. You spoke about the reaction to Fabs online. Now, there has been a wee bit of support, also a lot of hate. Let's have a look at this now. I prefer DGR Team Penske over Red Bull Racing any day of the week, but it's clear that the actions of Coulthard to slow down the pack by 30+ seconds denied any of the races behind him, as well as the fans watching the opportunity of a grandstand finish.
Yep, and that's I think that's a fair comment, and it's not being aggressive, it's not being abusive and everything. So that's a fair comment.
Don't let them ruin your day, Fabs. You did an awesome job on race day, putting your heart and soul into it, as you always do. He always does, as we know. You did exactly what you were told to do. It's just not your fault. Chin up and keep racing hard. There's a lot of that. Here we go. Yep. This is kind of what you're referring to. Absolute dogs. Not an ounce of sportsmanship in your so-called team. And I think we've got a couple more there as well. And at least admit it. Respect yourself, man. Don't be someone else's lackey. And there's so much, I won't say that, getting thrown around about Fabs and Tony D'Alberto, but by people who have never actually been in a race car, and this is where you come in, Murph. Slowing down and following in order to finish 6th is better than blowing up an expensive engine. The issue is here, though, Murph. Now, they've obviously, well, according to him, they've made the call to finish 6th, but at the same time, by doing that, now you risk getting no points at all.
Yeah, potentially. But, as I say, I think there's a lot worse going on out there as well on social media, and this is the problem with social media these days, because people can sit behind a keyboard and think that, they're smart. But, I think it's disgraceful. You've got to understand the situation that everybody's in. This is the biggest race of the year. He's playing the game as he needs to as part of a team, right? This is what it's all about. The team makes that decision. If Fabs has, gone and done what he was told, which it looks like he has in that respect, you've got to understand the situation. Now, he can't go against what his team wants him to be doing on the racetrack at any given time. So, just tone it down when it comes to thinking you're going to throw rocks at the guy.
Absolutely, mate. Thank you very much for joining us, and back to you guys.